Mm. Hey guys, how is it all going? So, thank you for joining me for what is my Halloween Resurrection movie review. And let's just dive straight into this. So, you remember the end of Halloween H2O or Halloween 20 or Halloween 20 years later, however you want to pronounce it. Do you remember at the end when Laurie Strode beheaded Michael Myers? Do you remember that? So that was pretty much that, if you really think about it. And you always thought to yourself, well, how would Michael Myers come back from that? And I remember going to the cinema in 2002 to watch Halloween Resurrection because that's what I wanted answered the most. I just wanted to know, how the hell did they bring him back? Like, he has had his head chopped off. How is he back? How is he alive? Are we really going to go down like a supernatural route with Michael? Well, apparently it wasn't Michael Myers. It was a paramedic who was in the room with Michael while he was lying down. And then Michael gets up, grabs him by the throat, crushes his throat, his voice box, so he can't speak. And that whole end bit with Michael Myers when he's in the back of the van, gets shot out the windscreen, down a cliff, gets pinned by a fan against a tree. We're supposed to believe that that wasn't Michael Myers. We're supposed to believe that when Laurie Strode was sat in the fan and said, Michael, get up, and Michael sat up and got up, that wasn't Michael Myers. It moved like on Michael Myers. It looked like Michael Myers. It had the dumb Michael Myers eyes, them eyes. It was him. It was clearly him. But Halloween Resurrection says it wasn't. So that is how Michael Myers is back. Right there, you have pissed me off and lost me. Right there. This isn't even 5 minutes into the movie where this is explained, and I am already done. And I remember being that way in the cinema back in 2002. The film lost me instantly, and it never ever got me back. And it was the same rewatching it now. I did not want to finish watching this movie at all because I think it's terrible. It is just terrible. Look, I know there's fans of this movie out there. Believe it or not, there is. If you get some love and joy from Halloween Resurrection, absolutely fair play to you. Honestly, I wish I could. But this is bad. Bad. This is like down there with one of the worst Halloween movies in the series. Man, after rewatching this, and this is probably going to surprise a lot of you if you've been watching me for a while, but I would even say that this is worse than Halloween Ends, and you guys know how much I hate that movie, and I mean hate that movie. So, it starts off in Resurrection with Laurie Strode is now in a mental home because she killed an innocent man, apparently. Apparently that wasn't Michael, as I've explained already before. So, it's been 3 years since Michael Myers attacked Laurie Strode at the school that she was a head teacher at. And now he is back and he attacks her in the mental home, but Laurie Strode has been waiting for him to return. So she set up like a little trap on the roof and she captures Michael by his foot, by his leg, and dangling him upside down over the building. Right there, that is where Michael dies. Either cut the rope, let it go, let him drop to his death, let him smash his head, it's over. But no, because Michael starts doing this, she thinks, oh, well, maybe that might not be Michael Myers, so I better check. He's literally just been attacking you in a mental home. He walks through a door, stabbed your bed thinking you were in it. It's clearly Michael Myers. Clearly. Yet, you still want to look under the mask to see if it's Michael. That's dumb. And then we have the death of Laurie Strode in it, which is just... yeah. And I mean, look, listen. This is how bad this movie was. Even Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want anything to do with it. She said, look, I'll come back, but kill me off straight away. And he did. And I will say this. Probably the start of this movie is its strongest point. Because once Jamie Lee Curtis leaves this movie, this film takes an absolute nosedive into just shit. Because at least the start of this movie somewhat feels like a Halloween movie. After that, it doesn't really. It's you can pinpoint the moment in time when this film came out, because it just screams like late 90s, early 2000s, really, when horror movies, for a short while in that period, were starting to take a bit of a nosedive, especially slasher movies. And this is probably one of the worst that came out around this time. Absolutely one of the worst. So basically the premise of this movie is, once like Jamie Lee Curtis, once Laurie Strode's been taken out, and there's this group, this company called Danger Entertainment, and what they want to do is they want to set up like a house of horrors kind of thing. So it's kind of like a haunted house, kind of people go in, explore the house, and they got little cameras on them so you can see the point of view and all that kind of stuff. But they want to do that in the Myers house. So it was a bit like a haunted Michael Myers house kind of thing, which they rigged and set up and put cameras in. And then they hire like 5 or 6 people to walk through the house on Halloween night. But what they don't expect is Michael Myers is actually in the house and is taking them out one by one. That's basically Halloween Resurrection. So I've already started off by really shitting all over this movie. I couldn't help it. I had to get it out. But I will start to talk of what I did enjoy about Resurrection. Okay, enjoy is a very strong word, but I will give some positives to this movie. And I will say the one main positive is actually Michael Myers himself. Now, I actually think Michael Myers is actually decent in this movie. And I like the mask. I know there's a lot of people that don't like the mask, but my God, when we look back on the history of the Michael Myers mask, this is definitely one of the better ones. And I don't know why there's a lot of fans that don't like it. I actually don't mind the fact that you can see his eyes in this one. He's definitely wearing eyeshadow anyway. Michael Myers is wearing makeup in Resurrection, he is. But his eyes look a lot darker. And I don't really mind that. Like I've said before in my other reviews, I'm not really a fan of seeing his eyes a lot. And that's why I think the new ones did really well, because a lot of the times you couldn't. It was just blacked out, which I preferred. But I don't mind when you see his eyes in this one a little bit. And you don't see him all the time. You just see him in certain shots. But it's not as like wide or big as it was in like H2O. So I quite like the mask in this. And like I say, I like the performance of Michael Myers. I think whoever portrayed him in this movie, I didn't bother to look it up, I actually think did a decent job. So fair play on that one. Also, I will say as well, I actually don't mind the theme music in this one. You know what I mean? It's been like a little bit updated. And I actually don't mind it. I think it's one of the better kind of themes, one of the better pieces of music that we've had throughout the series. So there is that. And that is pretty much where it ends with me. I just think everything else about this movie is just awful. The characters are some of the worst characters in any horror movie I've ever seen. They're just, all of them are just so unlikable. And that's got nothing to do with the actors or actresses that play. I just think there was just nothing there for them. Like, it's just so bad. It's just so bad. And I don't want to talk about this movie at all. I really don't. And probably the worst decision, I think, of any movie in Hollywood ever was casting Busta Rhymes in this movie. Oh my God, his character of Freddy is insufferable. I've seen some reviews of Resurrection on YouTube saying that Busta Rhymes kind of makes a bad movie fun to watch. And I kind of get it, but not for me. No, I just find he just makes the film more painful to sit through every time he appears. And whose idea was it to have him like kung fu fight Myers and just every decision, like nearly every decision in this movie is baffling. Like there's one scene where Freddy's in the Michael Myers house dressed up as Myers and Michael Myers is walking behind them. And then Freddy turns around and bumps into him. And obviously he doesn't think he's Michael Myers. He thinks he's someone else on the production team or something. And he starts like screaming at him, shouting at him and like poking him in the head, basically calling him a fucking idiot. And tells him to go away. And what happens? Michael Myers slowly turns around and walks away. The fuck is that about? Michael Myers wouldn't have done that at all. He would have put that knife straight through Freddy's head. And I wish he did. If they would have killed Freddy off right there, it kind of would have redeemed something in this movie for me, because I just can't stand Busta Rhymes in this movie. I really can't stand them. Like, the kills are pretty... you know, you've seen it 100 times before. It's just bad. It's just so bad. And I'm glad that they didn't carry on with this. I mean, they shouldn't have carried on after H2O. They ended up rebooting it anyway when Rob Zombie did it in 2007, I want to say, off the top of my head. So Resurrection just did not need to exist. It exists purely because Halloween H2O, you know, was successful and financially successful as well. So they wanted to cash in on it. But just the whole explanation of how Michael Myers is still there, just, for me, I just can't get past that. It just shits all over the ending of Halloween H2O massively. And the impact of that is just all of a sudden taken away, and absolutely fuck this movie. I hate Resurrection. I hate it. Do you know what it feels like? It actually feels like, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the case, it feels like Resurrection was another script just on a table, probably about like a haunted house with like an internet group going in and walking around filming each other. All right, it feels like that there was a script of that, and he didn't have a clue what to do. So he thought, oh, do you know what? We'll just throw Michael Myers in this and call this Halloween Resurrection. We'll attach a beginning onto it with Laurie, killing Laurie off, and then we'll just dive into that script and we'll just stick Michael Myers in when we can. That is legit what it feels like. So it just does not feel like a Halloween movie at all. It's bad. It is so bad. I wouldn't even waste your time. If you are literally starting off for the first time watching the Halloween series, avoid Resurrection. Seriously, it's an hour and a half of your life you will never get back. You could be doing better. There's more fun to be had in that time than watching this movie, I'll guarantee it. Please stay away. The film is awful. I am glad that I've finished it. I'm glad that I got through it. I'm glad that I've got to the end of this review, even though it's not really much of a review. It's more of a rant. But fuck this movie. It's awful. Guys, no surprise, Halloween Resurrection is an absolute big fat 0 out of 5. Oh, God. Yeah. So, guys, here's a question for you. Do you like Halloween Resurrection? Because I know there's a lot of people that do. I don't get it, but more power to you, honestly. If you do, guys, please leave a comment below. It is absolutely always a pleasure hearing from you. And, as always, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you again real soon. Take care, guys. Goodbye now.